Okay, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Technician Podcast. Today, I've got my friend Christina, and we're going to talk everything about everyone's trying to perform like they're fine, and everyone's fucking sick of it. We're exhausted by everyone acting as if everything's all good when we know real life behind the screen is a little bit different to that. Dude, I'd love you to introduce yourself, what's going on for you, how you are today, and let's talk about this topic.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I could talk forever. I feel like for anyone listening right now, if we go in 1,000 different directions due to me, this guy, please just, hopefully you can stay on path. But yeah, I am Christina. So I don't even know where to start when it comes to having an introduction or introducing myself because there's so many different things that I could talk about, which I'm sure we'll kind of get into as we chat today. But basically, I am 30. I live on the Gold Coast with my husband. We moved up from Adelaide 2 years ago. And I have done so many different things in my life that had led me to where I am now in what I do. So I work part-time as an assistant, and then I also am on socials. I was a coach at one point. I've dabbled in all the things. I feel to put who I am into a bit of an elevator pitch is I've just never been someone that is willing to conform to like what I should do traditionally in terms of like career and life. So I don't have a perfect sentence for who I am or what I do, but I am really just someone committed to figuring it out and learning who I am, I guess, in the process, all of that. So yeah, that's
That's the
me.
best way to say it. I like it. And from knowing you I mean, we've technically known each other for a couple of years now, right? And sort of just on the online space. And I think we really got along from the start because you're just such a real human and funny as fuck. So I really appreciate that aspect. But there was something you said that I really found interesting. You called yourself the queen of the pivot. Can you touch on that for a second?
Yes, okay, love that. Um, where to start? So I'll try and keep it short because again, we
You're
could be
good.
long, so long.
Go for it.
Basically, I grew up never really, I feel like everyone, like we never really know what we want to do in life, but society just puts this expectation on us that we have to have that answer. And I think that if you aren't someone who's willing to be a bit of a rebel in that, and not from like this aggressive lens, but more so just from questioning things or not being willing to just give an answer for the sake of giving an answer, then you do follow a very just like black and white path in life. And I feel I've always been the opposite to that. And I'm very blessed to which my upbringing, like my parents have always been incredibly supportive. I've got incredible role models in my brothers as well from like an educational work career path. And so I've always really looked up to and valued that, but I've never known exactly like what that was going to be for me ever, like literally ever in my life, other than sport, which we'll probably go into in a bit. But yeah, I remember in year 12, I would just kind of like float through school and nothing was ever bad, but there was nothing that I loved. I loved PE, but then you have to start like learning about the anatomy of the body. And I'm like,
No, no thanks.
no, no, no. I just want to like kick the ball.
Yeah.
And then psychology was the only other thing that I was just like engulfed in. Like I could just learn about it all day. So from there, I went into study psychology at uni and did all of that. It was fine. Throughout that, I traveled a bit and then I got onto the stage with my piece of paper and I just like remember this moment so vividly. I thought, well, I will never use this in my life. Like this is so real, but we'll hang it up and then like that'll be it. And from that point, I have done so many different things that have really been based around like psychology, humans. I'm so curious about people, how we operate, how I operate, how we see the world. And in that, I've just never been willing to settle for anything if I've known on like a deep level it wasn't for me anymore. And so I've just always pivoted. I have started small businesses. I have done okay at that and then decided, hey, like this actually isn't it anymore. Go on to the next thing, go on to the next thing, go on to the next thing. And something that I think of in that is like there's probably times where I've done that from a lens where I haven't fully thought through what I was doing and it maybe was like a little bit more reactive. But for the most part, I think I've just been someone who's always been very good at quitting in a powerful way where it's like I'm not willing to kind of stay in something or do something based on how I'm perceived in that, the level of success or no success in that, and just do it for the sake of doing it because I want to prove a point. Like I'd rather just quit and get on to the next thing. And that's just who I am. And like I'm hoping there will come a point where I just find the thing. But equally, if I never do, I'm happy to do that for the rest of my life.
Dude, this topic right here. First of all, congratulations on everything that you've achieved within that. I think most people get caught in is, have you heard of the sunk cost fallacy?
Yeah.
And for anyone listening, this is where you might stay in something because you've already invested so much time and you're like, oh, but I've already been in this job for 10 years. I can't leave now. Yeah, you can. It's okay. And there's this moment you said there, it was so profound, is that, and so many people would experience this where they're standing on stage, right? And let's map this to any career progression you've had, any big moment you've had. And I'm going to relate it to myself. Literally, something happened this morning where you meet this thing you've been working towards. You made it to the top of that mountain. You get there and you're kind of like, wait a second, I don't even want to be here. What the
Mhm.
hell? Everyone told me this was what I was supposed to do. Everyone told me I had. Why do I not feel like I've found my thing? And so many people get caught in that, especially men. All out, we get told, oh, what's your purpose? I don't fucking know. To be a human, to live, to go have coffee, to hang out with my fiance. Like, why is that not enough? Why is it not enough for me to just be me? And dude, what you just said then is like, how many kids stood on that stage because everyone told them this is what you're working towards for the first 18 years of your life, or 17, whatever it is, 20, 21. And you're standing there, right? I want you to take the listener through that. What happened in that moment for you to then go, all right, cool, I did it. What next? How did you then go from that to the next stage and where you've now ended up?
Mhm. Yeah, it was just like this, again, what I was saying before, I think there's part of me that's always just been so okay with what I believe. And at times in my life, that was probably a quote unquote problem because I maybe wasn't considerate of others. And like as you evolve, you just
Oh
realize.
no, how dare you be selfish and look after yourself? Shit.
I know, right? And it's like, I feel like that's always been something that I've just been good at, which is a blessing, I would say. Like, just in how I've been raised, I've been able to see things from what feels good for me and then what just doesn't. And there has been a teething process in, all right, like, where is this actually maybe not such like a clean expression of that trait? And then when is it? But for me, up there, I was just like, there's more to life. And I don't think I ever had that language for it or the understanding for it in the moment, but it was more so just this full body, like, I'm not going to work as a psychologist. I'm not going into research. I'm not doing this. I know I'm going to use this, but just not in the way that everyone thinks I'm supposed to. And so instead of shoving myself into a box, I'm going to explore for a little bit. And something I've always been very big on is just understanding that I can actually always change my mind. And I never see anything as permanent. So in terms of a decision like that, hey, I've still got a degree. So if tomorrow I change my mind, I want to go get a job, I'll just do that. And I always think that with anything I do in life, like any decision for the most part, you can reverse. So it's like, well, what's the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is I stand up on this stage, I have this feeling, I do something about it, I figure out in 3 years' time that I probably made the wrong decision. I'll just circle right back to where I was. Like your worst scenario is what you're experiencing currently. So in that, you go, well, I'm all good. I'll figure it out. When have I ever not? And then we just keep it moving. So I think like
Mm,
just always, Bob Proctor has this saying that I always come back to, and it's you'll never connect the dots looking forward, only back. And so I think to your question of like, what did that feel like? And for the listeners, it's you're not meant to understand it, you're just meant to follow it. And then once you follow it, you figure it out in hindsight. And 100% certainty only ever exists in hindsight, and all of these things that we can like understand and know, but unless you're willing to just lean into that feeling for yourself in whatever that looks like in life, whether it's the career, the relationship, the degree, you'll never have that, I guess, validation in hindsight of, oh, I did the right thing, or, oh, I didn't, but I learned so much. And then now I can go back to that version of myself, but as so much more evolved. And then, just take that path. I think there's just like, we've just got to be willing to follow it because I'm like quite morbid. Like, I have a very, I don't know if morbid's the word, but like I'm always just like, well, I'm gonna die.
I heard you say this. Yeah, I love this. I'm the
I
same.
say it all the time, all the time. You're gonna die. Okay. So like, what will you regret? Will you regret trying and then going back, or will you regret having just stuck to the path because like your year 5 teacher told you that's what you should do?
Can I ask you a personal question? Have you lost anyone like a grandfather or grandmother or anyone and sat there with them while they're passing and seen and heard them say their regrets?
Yeah, my grandpa, so my papa Harry, he was like, those people that you lose and you're just like, you can probably hear it in my voice. I would never fully process it because you're like anyone but you, like one of those
It was like
people.
my granddad, dude. I only lost him like a year and a half ago.
Oh, so I'm so sorry because I feel like when you get that and you can like relate to someone on such a deeper level when you've experienced that level of loss. And I think for us, like he was unwell for a while. My mum like took care of him at home for years, like 15 years or something like
Mm,
that. And when he passed, it was in the home. My brother was his doctor. We were all there. We were all together. And, it was time, but I think that experience just made me realize like what matters, because like that's what matters. And so I always think like if we're going through life, and I think anyone that has lost someone, you get to really use them as an anchor for like how you lead and how you live. Because I'm like, well, if they don't have the chance, like I have the chance for them and us. And I always think to even his passing, where I'm like quite spiritual, and I've just really, I think I need to support myself through life, because life is so gnarly. Like the older that you get and the deeper that you love, I think we can, relate in that with when you feel so deeply and you love so deeply, you hurt so deeply, which is also beautiful. But it's like, I often think, I'm like, I don't know if I'm made for this life, because like I'm feeling stuff. This can't be, me.
Dude, you've got TikTok where there's dogs, that don't get picked up by anyone and they're lonely and you're just like, oh,
So
what
I'm
the
like,
hell?
no, I can't. So, it's like I have to have something to believe in or to guide me, because otherwise I'm fucked out here.
What do you believe in? Touching on that, like, what's that thing that just popped up in your head?
I just believe that there will always be, what's the word? Like anyone that I've lost, I've never lost. Like they're here, but I have to be able to connect with them. And I have to believe, and I do believe so deeply that like you've never gone, you're just physically not here. And so in that, I believe with my papa, when he passed, like I missed it by maybe like 5 minutes. And I was like on the way there from my house, but I just instantly was like, I wasn't meant to see it, because part of him fragmented and came with me. And so then I think, well, in terms of life, then like yeah, he's here, but he's not here waiting for me to, you know, just go to the job because I should just go to pay the bills, or just follow through on that relationship because we've been in it for a year, or just live a very mediocre experience of life because I'm here and I just better just tick the boxes. Like there is so much more to life than that. And when you can connect to grief and death and just know that every single person in this world, anyone that you see at the street, anyone that you see at uni or work, they could die tomorrow. I could die tomorrow. I could die in 40 years, I could die in 70 years. Like you just never know, but all you have is right now. And then how you choose to act right now is going to be the story that you tell one day. And so it's always, what's that story going to be and how am I going to feel about it? And I don't know who said this, but it's like, imagine you're on your deathbed and then like every single version of you and your potential surrounded you. Like, what does that look and feel like?
Dude, there's so much to unpack on the last like 5 minutes of what you just said, which is perfect. This is how I knew this was going to go this way because you're full of value, and you think very similar to me. I'm hearing you and going, yeah, bro, keep going. And it comes back to what you said there. I'll share something for me that I believe the loss of my grandfather on dad's side, so that's dad's dad, and then mum's mum, Nanny. She used to watch all my footy games when I was growing up. And she used to have this little shaky camera, and she'd just be like, we're trying to watch it. And I'm like, Nan, can you like get a stabilizer or something next time? I feel sick. I'm trying to watch this. And she's like, oh, go Travis. And what I picture though, after we lost her, which again was about the same time as granddad, about a year and a bit ago. And that was a lot of grief. There was a lot of loss during that time. And I have over the last 12 months. It's been really rough in regards to that, but it's made me such a better man for it. And what I took from it, like you just said, and I got goosebumps, was I picture my nan still watching me with that little camera. And I'm like, I'll wake up and imagine if I'm not doing like what I want to do. And I hear her voice. I'm like, go Trav, and I'd hate to let her down. I'd hate to let him down. And I'd hate to think that so many people are not only letting themselves down, but those people that supported them, created them. I'm here because of these people. How dare I not do what I want to do? How dare I waste a life that they sacrificed so much for me to have? People don't consider that stuff. They aren't considerate of these other people that they exist because of. And that might be a bit of an old school sort of way. It's like, oh, I don't owe them anything or this. Well, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And if that helps you do the things you don't want to do on a daily basis, like, dude, I barely ever want to like do the fucking business. Like it's a lot. I love helping people. I love doing what I do. It's profound, it's deep, but it's a lot. Like at one point last year, I was supporting like 20 people at once, coaches, clients, and then I had all these friends going through like suicidal ideation, PTSD, loss of family, all these things. Myself, my fiance. How the hell am I supposed to show up daily for myself and run a business? And it's when you've got something so profound like that to picture your nan as a ghost watching you with a camera, that helps me some days. So it's like you say to people, something you really said really landed, and I hope this lands for you. It's like you can truly be original. You don't have to be traditional, because I think life is so run by what everyone thinks you have to do and need to do, when it's like, well, who do you want to be? Why the fuck would you go off based off everyone else's story when you get to write your own? And that's what something you've said in the potty a few times. It's like people grow and thrive off hearing other people's stories, and we don't hear enough of it anymore. That's how society was built, off the back of really cool human stories. I love going to the movies. I don't know about you, but seeing a story and how someone's hero's journey plays out, I love that shit. Like I see myself in that right now. And like you just said, it's like all these versions of you come to your deathbed and think, like I think about it of like, bro, your movie was sick. That part when you did that, I was off my seat. I was like, yeah, let's go. I'd hate to think that by the end of my life that my movie is shit. That it's not something that everyone wants to sit there in the cinema and walk out going, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Like people really want to think about that, right? What does that bring up for you hearing that?
It's so real. And I just love you so deeply in all of that because we're so blessed to have people that we've loved so much that have impacted the rest of our life, you know, and
Mm.
then impact the people that we love's life. Like it's just such a beautiful experience and equally the most just grueling experience. So yeah, I love your nanny with that little camera. I tell you that.
How does when you go through these moments, something I really wanted to ask you today, because I don't know him. I haven't met Cruz, but I can tell he's just the man, like his absolute like brother. And can you speak a little bit about who he is as a man, how he supports you through those tough times? Because I think we're going to have a lot of women listening today, but a lot of men as well. And I watch and have heard a little bit about you talk about him and the way you speak about him and the pride you have in him and your guys' marriage. And it's just so cool because I'm the same with Christelle. And it's honestly not that common. Like I remember when you said, how dare you speak about someone you love in a room where they're not there to defend themselves and you're speaking shit about them? Like, what are you even with them for? Like, I gas that woman up like crazy wherever I go.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a problem with her, I say that to her face.
Mm-hmm.
We have a deep conversation that's honest, it's not emotional, it's open and authentic, and we sort that shit out on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
That's the standard we have. So yeah, just on a few like topics there, I'm sure you got plenty to spit right now.
I'm like, all right, oh, let's go.
Let me go. Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow, there's so much. I think just on your note, and then we'll get into Cruz because he is king. Cruz is king. But and I genuinely see him as that, which is why I think we've just got the dynamic that we have because there is just so much mutual respect. But to your point of, yeah, I put this post up and it's so interesting because the more I've openly spoken about my marriage and what we value and how we operate online, the more shit I've got because people like it's just crazy. Like I'm called a pick me. I'm like, it's like this is such a strange thing to lie about. This isn't the truth. And I'm not bothered because I think if what you're saying is untrue, then you have a response to that. But I'm like, just sending love and prayers because it's crazy how conditioned the world has become, especially in the online space. It's so interesting being someone who is online and a part of my career is online. There's so much opportunity online, but in the same breath, I have such an aversion to it because there's just so much crap out there that is so untrue and unproductive, especially for women who are looking for a partner and someone who they can build alongside of. We've just so deeply run this like independent narrative on both ends, whether it's you male or female, this independent narrative of like you should have your own back, sort yourself out, make sure you work, have savings just in case. Like it's this very fear-based mentality around life, but in this instance, relationships. And that's something that I've definitely worked on with Cruz and like earlier on, because you do grow up independent when you go out into the world, you get a job, you whatever, it is on you. But I think something that really creates a lot of separation in relationships is that, again, that fear-based mentality and this idea that you need to work to be independent of your partner, as opposed to you should both work independently to come together in a union and then build life together. And something that I always say is just because you're dependent on your partner does not mean you're incapable. And if the worst case scenario happened, if you lose someone, like people say to me, well, what would you do if he died? I'm like, okay, well, firstly, what a question. Secondly, I'd figure it out. And that would be the worst thing ever, but I'd figure it out because we always do. And so for Cruz and I, we've just come to this point of there are different roles that we play to benefit one another and our relationship. He supports me in certain ways so that I can be the best version of myself for myself, but also for us and our future family. And then I'll support him in other ways so that he can be the best version of himself, for me, and for our future family. And we just see things through that lens of we're in it together. We're not in this to coexist, but just make sure we've got our own back. Like we've got each other's back. And that point on, how you speak of your partner in rooms that they're not in and just in general. That's not to say that you can't confide in friends or
Of course.
there's a way of communicating. And, for me, if a friend or someone that I don't know, whoever came to me and they were just rinsing on their partner and they're just saying all this stuff about them instantly, unfortunately, I don't respect that partner. Like I don't respect this person. And so I think that your partner's reputation is in the words that you speak of them. And so that's on you and that's on them. And at the end of the day, if you don't have respect and if you don't have trust in one another's word, like you don't really have much. So for us, it just is like, and he could piss me off, but I'm going to tell him that he's pissed me off,
Yeah, like not let it build up to bitterness and then because the most common thing I see is, especially with a lot of clients, is like they'll come to me to talk about it, and I'm like, hey, also I'm not in this triangle. This is not about I'm not a relationship coach, but I help with relationships. By helping you. You as an individual will become better, and then that relationship will elevate and change and transform as it does. But it's like, hey, let's come back to you, and how are you responsible in that scenario too?
Fully. And that this is the thing, right? Even for myself and Cruz, I'm very proud of our marriage, but also there's always stuff that we're going to have to work through because as humans, whether that they're in the picture or not, you're always going to have stuff to work through.
Yeah.
And any time that I notice myself in this external focus and I'm like focusing on all the things that he's done wrong or I've decided XYZ, I'm like, if you just reframe that and go, how can I be the best partner that I can be right now? And, what am I potentially contributing to this? The instant that your focus is there, this problem actually dissolves because the charge is taken out of it. You've actually acknowledged that there's always two people at play. And also have a generous assumption of your partner, your friend, whoever it is. It's not just romantic relationships. And understand that humans, yes, we were obviously made to coexist and to be a part of a tribe, but also everyone has had a different upbringing. Everyone has a different viewpoint of the world. Everyone has stuff that you have no idea about. And so that's always going to be coming to the surface forever.
Oh, that topic right there. I posted a reel yesterday about I'm always the guy that will be this steady, honest friend that will always just be like checking in. I respond quite quickly because I'm mostly on my phone with the job I do. And that can actually repel people. And I used to make it such a personal thing of like, oh, they're this. I'm like, no, look, most people are overwhelmed. Most people have a lot going on. They don't have the capacity right now to respond to me. Also, people avoid me now because I tell the truth, and a lot of people aren't willing to hear that. So I'm like, I don't make them a bad person for that. I just know that I'm a lot because I fucking see them, and they know that.
Yeah.
I never coach my mates. But I will say shit when I know they need to hear it, as in, like, I love them and I'm going to challenge them. I've even had mates avoid me for weeks at a time because they know they don't want to hear what I've got to say. So I put this reel up but a lot of people took it as, yeah, I'm so nice and these people are just cunts. I'm like, no. There's like, there are some cunts. There are some people that are purposely like manipulating you. They might have the dark triad. They're a little bit narcissistic, whatever. Most people, though, are just overwhelmed. They're doing their best. They got shit going on they haven't told you. Because I know for myself, as a man, I still don't ask for enough help. I'm the one that's always helping everyone else, Like, I'm sure there's times where Cruz hasn't told you something that's going on for him, and you're like, babe, why didn't you tell me? But even actually just on that, because there's the women listening right now, like most women that listen to me are in relationships, whether they're married, whatever, and probably same for your audience. How do you help him in those moments? You don't have to share anything personal about what he's going through. But as a man, I work with a lot of men. I know they struggle. There's a lot of pressure. It's like, I've got to provide and all these things. How do you show up for Cruz when he's going through those moments?
Yeah, good question. With Cruz, he very much is someone who will try to keep his problems to himself because he doesn't want to put that on me. Regardless of how many conversations we've had around that, and I love him for it because he thinks that's what I need. But every single time it's like, okay, what not what I need, but what I would love is to know so that I can support you. But in that moment, when I know that something's present and I know he'll always speak about it eventually, but not in that moment, and that's just his processing, and that's fine. I just come into so much more compassion and so much more, I guess, love is like a loaded word. It's like, what does that even mean? But I just try to show him that he's so appreciated in all that he's doing because things compound, right? So if he's got work stress, he's got family stress, he's got property stress, whatever it may be, I could never pinpoint what it is. But if one thing's happening, the rest probably also feels a lot heavier. So I just think, well, what can I do in this to make that load lighter? Is it sending him a message just to let him know that even if I might not say it all the time, I appreciate him for this, this, and this? Because especially the longer that you get into a relationship, you can easily come into assumption of them just knowing that you appreciate it, or them just knowing that that's what you think. And I just try to not get complacent in actually saying it. And that could be a me thing because I'm a big words of affirmation person. But like every time that I do say that, it does give him that just even one breath of fresh air of it's actually worth it. And there's a reason why we're doing all of this. And there's a reason why this pressure feels so real. And there's a reason why it feels heavy. And also, it's the life that we're choosing. And a lot of people aren't choosing that for the reason of wanting to avoid like these feelings. And that's perfect and fine. But if I can just have him know, like, I've got you however I can, and we're in this together. And even if it all went to shit, and even if we wanted to stop it all, you and I can go sleep in the car outside and we're good.
Oh, I love that. You touched on a few things there, which I think is really prevalent at the moment. Is that there's a lot of very entrepreneurial women doing cool shit online. Maybe they're UGC creators, maybe they're fitness coaches, whatever, and they're killing it, right? We've got a lot of really successful entrepreneurial women, and the dynamic shifted from 50 years ago or whatever, and people are still holding on to a lot of bullshit as well. What I find is that a lot of women I work with, they then go, Trav, how do I get my man to do the work? And I'm like, he doesn't actually have to do the work
I've been there.
because, yeah, like I actually know, even for myself, my beautiful partner is a teacher. She's
Mm,
head of department at her school. She's done a neuroscience degree and she loves her career.
mm,
I don't want her to quit so I can fucking, provide for her. I do want to provide for her. And I'd love that if she was working in this business and helping me, and because she's incredible at what she does. But if she wants her career, cool. And if she doesn't want to do all this breath work and all this other stuff I do, cool.
mm.
I actually see the most beautiful relationships uh, are these very entrepreneurial out there doing the work, all these things, women doing podcasts, and then they've got this just dude that just works a trade and is just the man and is just solid.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
that's honestly one of the cleanest relationships I see.
No, I honestly love it. And it doesn't come without, stories. I think just online amplifies everything. Like the internet amplifies everything. And words spoken amplify everything, even when those words aren't necessarily true. And you
Mm,
see like the dream and the life and the self-employment. And it's like, hey, that's also pretty cooked as well. Like you get it. I've been in the coaching industry. Even now, it's like, yeah, it is a lot, and you can often just see those highlights. But equally, I always think to Cruz, and there's so much that that man could do in his life. Like he could do whatever he wanted, and that's perfect. And if it comes to a point where he does want to pivot and try something new outside of his trade, amazing. But also, it's like he's such a hard worker. He gets up, he grinds, he comes home, he's home. And I feel so blessed for that because I know it's not the case for a lot of these like power couple, like entrepreneur
mm,
relationships, and it's all perfect, like it's all perfect. But I think it's a lot harder to have, I guess, like a relationship balance within that. And even to your point of like doing the work, I remember when I first started investing in my development, I'm just like, oh my gosh, how did this man marry me? Like, I'm like, there's no way you stuck through that phase, brother, but he did. Like, of just this superiority, master's consciousness. And you're like, I'm journaling this morning. Have you done your journaling? And he's like, okay, I'll journal. And then like eventually he's like, I don't want to fucking journal. And I'm like, oh, well then like I'm gonna leave you behind. Like in my head, all of that crap. Like you're gonna outgrow, you're gonna do whatever. Um, Crew's my husband, right? Arguably the most self-aware human you'll meet. I never spent a cent on a coach, self-development, like doesn't really read. Like he's just living life. He's just doing him. He's got a lot of life experience. He's someone that he'll like watch a video of how to, I don't know, build like a building. He'll just build it tomorrow. You know what I mean? He's just like, he gets it done in his own way.
Yeah.
And I think, again, like online just creates such a narrative around you're going to outgrow and then you're growing apart and you value different things. And that's the problem. Like, that's actually the problem. What's going on in your relationship isn't the problem, but you create it to be one because Susan, the mindset guru, told you so. And it's kind of like discernment in that. Of course, if you get to a point where you're like, this actually just isn't aligned, that's perfect. You'll know, but you'll never know if you're just flooded with all this noise online of like what your relationship should look like. You should be doing, breath work together every morning. You should be doing this. Like, oh, I was even thinking about this morning, actually, tangent. But I was looking at a photo of my wedding dress, right? Like we've got photos up. And I was like, I love that dress so much. And then I noticed my brain go, oh, but like maybe I should have done this, should have done that. And then I thought the only reason I'm having that thought is because I have access to social media where I see other people's dresses today. Okay. So like if we didn't have that, I would still be thinking, fuck yeah, that was such a nice
That was
dress.
gun. Yeah.
That was the best. Like, and I'll never, ever, ever think otherwise. And so apply that to anything. Like the only reason a lot of the time you have such critical thinking, I mean, in a negative way around people in your life, work, how you feel, your morning routine, the dress that you wore on your wedding day, it's just because you have been inundated from the second your eyes open for everyone else's wedding dress or everyone else's morning routine. And it's like, if that wasn't there, which is hard to imagine now for people, but what this guy here, what do you want in that with like your relationship? What does that feel like? How you communicate with them? What does that look like? Are you journaling or have you never bought one in your life? Like, what does that look like?
Oh, and you couldn't have said that any better because I'll call myself out. I was the same when I first started this spiritual awakening. I did my breath work and it was like, holy shit, everyone needs to do this. And I just became a pest with my family, my friends. And, I look now like one of my closest mates, Tice, is the most incredible father. He's got 3 kids. One of them is my goddaughter. He's an incredible husband. I remember, his partner Shiv, who I've known both of them for, like 20 years, one of my closest friends. The way she spoke about him the other week, and he's gone through stuff, I'm supporting him, but she said, Trav, I just love him so much. He just makes everything so fun. And I hear that, and I see him criticize himself, and I'm like, bro, you're more of a man than most of these men's work coaches online. Don't even compare yourself to that shit. Don't worry if you're going through stuff. That's normal. The way you show up as a man and as a father and as a husband is way more elite than these motherfuckers that are pretending to be, because the things I know about them behind the scenes and then the way they're showing up online does not align. They don't know how to show up for a partner. Barely any of them are in a relationship. Like you start hearing and seeing this bullshit that's being spread out there. And there's all these poor blokes that are like, oh, I'm just a guy that doesn't do all this stuff. It's like, that doesn't matter. How does your wife speak about you? I just heard that. That tells me a lot about you as a man. If I ever want to know about a client and they've got a partner, I'll just have a session with the partner and go, tell me a bit about such and such. That's when, because they see all of you, right? So I know the way that she spoke about him and just how I see him as a mate and how he showed up for me, because I actually had a really uncomfortable conversation. He'll be fine with me saying this. A lot of people avoid this. I had a really uncomfortable conversation because I felt like he wasn't supporting me. We get online and, people do this whole thing like, oh, your closest friends won't like your stuff and all this stuff. And, your haters and this. It's like, nah, I think a lot of people, the best friends are ones that just don't give a fuck and they actually just truly love you. Like they're the ones that when my grandfather's passing will actually say, hey, bro, I hope you're doing okay. But he's not the one that's every day going, oh my God, man, you're the man. Congratulations. I finally made it to 10,000 followers this morning. And for me, it was a moment of like, cool. That's sick, because I understand I understand the game. I understand that no matter what, first impressions are big online. I know how valuable I am and what I do, and I'm powerful and I can change people's lives in a session. But that's not going to matter if people that need me don't know me. So there's that, polarity of like, I don't really give a fuck, but I also am like, holy shit, finally I'm going to start, getting on bigger podcasts or getting bigger guests and all these things, because unfortunately that's just the way it is, and that's okay. But, if Tyson never said, congratulations on 10K, I'm not going to make that mean anything about him.
Fully.
Whereas in the past I'd been like, oh, why aren't my friends, telling me how good I am or how well I'm going in the podcast and all these things. It's like, well, dude, how do you feel about yourself?
Yep. Yep.
You know?
That because anytime, and I'm sure the listeners can relate and you can relate, everyone can relate. It's like how you interpret someone else's actions. And there's so much nuance because it's never to say that we want to just excuse poor behavior,
Of
unsupportive people that
course.
are actually unsupportive. But when we just put that aside and you go, how I responded to my expectation of this person in that moment was solely based on my emotional state in that moment or in how I felt I was showing up for myself. Yes, you can still have disappointment, but the weight isn't all consuming and this just like anger and this like resentment, like that doesn't actually present itself if you and yourself are solid and grounded in that moment or in that experience or just you had a good sleep. Do you know what I mean? And there's times where I'm like, okay, Christina, I don't trust you right now because you are tired. Okay. I don't trust him, whoever's upstairs. Don't trust her. Because you're tired. So have this emotion, have this reaction to this person's behavior, have a sleep. The next day, 9 times out of 10, I don't feel that way anymore. And that's like such a minute experience example. But yeah, like with your friend, you go, I know that you've got me and you know those people. But then in the same breath, we have to, as friends as well, have that compassion for people in this day and age where there is so much going on. If potentially they miss the fact that you've hit 10K this morning, that actually isn't about you. Like you said, it's not about you. But we're so quick to just go, okay, well, that person's done then, like they don't support me, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, hey, what are they going through? What's this world looking like right now? There is so much like secondary pain going on for the world in general. And just there's a lot. There's a lot, but we tarnish these relationships in our life that were actually probably fine because we just assume that someone directly not supporting us, whatever that means something about our dynamic, not generous assumption, what could be going on here. Also, if I'm just focused on myself, I'm feeling good, I'm groovy, I probably won't even notice it.
Yeah. Oh, it's the line that popped up for me, which I've said a few times over the last few years, was people are so quick to convict people of a crime they don't even know they've committed. And it's this letting this resentment build up and this bitterness, and you're not even going to tell them why you're pissed off. Go tell and I did that though, because then understanding myself and what I do as a coach and helping other people understand is that I was the nice guy growing up. I was the one that was always said yes. I was the one that kept the peace because that's what kept me safe. Now that my nervous system doesn't freak out and think I'm going to die, I can actually say to a friend who I love, hey bro, it's actually pissing me off that you've never actually said congratulations on this, this, and this. I perceive you as one of my closest mates, if not even a father figure, because you were growing up, and you've never actually said you're proud of me, and that hurts. He didn't know that.
Yep.
He didn't know that, and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." Like, is that why? And like, he was upset with me because I kept dodging chances to catch up.
Yep.
Because in my heart, I was like, I was hurt. This brother of mine wasn't showing support, so I just was like, "Well, you don't even support me in what I do." Blah blah blah. All these stories. I don't want to hang out with you. And then you've got these two people who could have ruined a friendship if they didn't just have this really uncomfortable conversation, which we did, and now we're better than ever.
Yep. Yep.
How many times has that happened where you've probably seen friends just like go their separate ways because they didn't have this really uncomfortable conversation, which could have been sorted there and then?
It's real. And I've had that and I've had the exact same experience as you just mentioned with a very close friend. And I think if I never said that thing, like what would life be now? And then I even look back to past relationships and like I don't have any friends from high school. Like that just wasn't a season of my life that I'm like, that was just a season. But then there's this one girl that I think too, she was my best friend through all of basketball, all of life. And we had a falling out that ended our relationship. And then I'm just like, that didn't have to happen. And now it's been 10 years and like that, it is what it is. Like,
Oh, a bit
unfortunately,
orkies now, yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's been a bit long, like, just
Yeah.
slow. But that didn't have to happen. And so we just go, yeah, like we really are the problem in a beautiful way. Hormozy says this all the time, but he goes, well, like power goes where the finger's pointed. And so if we just are willing to point the finger at ourselves and not in this toxic way of like this self-deprecating, I'm the
I'm the
worst.
problem. Yeah.
Because like I can do that. I'm like, you're fucked and you are just the worst in the world, like I can be that person. So I'm like, Christina, let's do this in a love and light way. But it's like point it at yourself and go, all right, if for 10 minutes every problem in my life that I was experiencing was my fault, what would I do to change it? And then you get to go into, okay, and like what parts could someone else be playing in this? But also, I just don't think you get to have that conversation with yourself or that reflection with yourself if you're not willing to bring it up with the other person. Because, like you said, you don't even know if they've committed that crime. You've just decided that they have. And then every single thought and action that you then take thereafter fuels this story that might not even be true in the first place.
You just had something spark in my brain because with the podcast, as I said, it's gonna let it roll. Like if I next Wednesday I'm like, oh, I really want to talk to such and such, I'm gonna organize a coffee and we're gonna put mics on and we're gonna record a podcast 2 days later. So now what I've just thought of is like, I want you to picture yourself. You're sitting at a coffee table, your favorite coffee spot in the Goldie. Shell's up from, is she from Newcastle?
Yep. But like Northern Beaches.
Yeah, so she's come up. She's up here. She's doing some work. You guys catch up for a coffee. What's the thing that you're talking to her about with what you're going through at the moment?
Good question. I would say for me currently, I feel I'm in this really funny middle ground. I've just turned 30, which I came into that like, let's go. 29 was a cooked year. Are you 30?
36.
Are you 36? Wow, you're looking
Yeah.
fresh. I don't even know if you cracked 30
I've
yet.
got it tuned up on Zoom. That's all it is.
Let's go. Well, I don't know if you had this, but 29 was such a cooked year because you're just like not even being
Dude, it
like,
was COVID. For
even
me, it was literally the year before COVID. So I turned 30 during COVID.
fuck, well, I'm glad that we're here chatting because like that's rough.
Yeah.
But yeah, 29, like someone told me this, like it's kind of your dishwasher year. So you're just all of this stuff's coming up. Nothing really makes sense. You're questioning everything. Even for myself, I feel like I've accomplished a lot, but I'll never acknowledge that I've accomplished it because I'm just like, oh, I don't like it anymore, on to the next kind of thing. And
Ex-athlete. That sounds about right.
oh, it's so like low key. I just think, why couldn't I have just been shit at sport? Like, I had to
Yeah.
just develop this part of myself because like me and my brother both have it, and we're just like, life's rough out here, fam.
Isn't he a sick basketball player? So he'd be super competitive as well.
Like he went over to college and then did his ankle, and they surgeried wrong, and that retired him.
What college?
Iowa.
Oh, sick. Okay,
So,
wow.
it just runs in the Harvey bloodline, right?
Mm.
But I think, yeah, 29 was this year of questioning everything, thinking I was just so behind, thinking I was this loser. I just shut down my coaching business, gone and got a job, which for me, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I haven't done
I'm a
this.
piece of shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Just like was the best thing in hindsight, but like, oh, it was just so rough. And then coming into 30, and then I was like, so much fell away. I feel like care for just shit that didn't matter, dynamics that just weren't it, all of these things. I'd really just evolved into this beautiful place, 30, ready to hit the ground running. And then feeling really good until like the last couple of months where I'm like, I'm working on so many things. I'd say to Shell, like, I'm working on so many things that I really see the potential of long term, but it's a lot of time exchanged for no, like, I'm not making money from it. It's not
Mm.
something that is like, it's all passion, right? Like it's all things that I love to do, whether it's like the podcast, which I love, YouTube, which I love, socials, which I love. But that alongside being like, okay, well, I do want to still be able to contribute like to our family. And then I work part-time and I'm just, there's so much going on. And I think for what? Like for what? Because there is no, I guess, what's the word? Like there's no certainty in any of it, but I love all of it. But I think I'm just like starting to question, like, am I just crazy? And am I in this fairy world? And like, what am I doing? But I love everything that I'm doing. But it's just like exchanging so much time for something that you don't know if it's going to have the impact that you want it to have. And then,
Can we workshop this for a second?
oh, please, please, please.
Cool. Because like right now, you're in a moment, right, that I think a lot of listeners are in as well. They've got this thing going on, they're doing this, but they're not sure what the thing is. And I've got a lot of people in that moment. I've had 4 friends in the last 2 days reach out and say, Trav, I've got these 2 things that I can do. What do you think I should do? And I've actually asked the same question to both of them or given them the same advice. And I said, really? at the end of the day, whichever one you choose, it really doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't, because you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself, I'd say, to see, oh, again, that you might get to that point of, but I've done all these other things and I've become these other things. What if they don't work out as well? It's like, cool, what if they don't?
Mm-hmm.
You've literally at the start said you're the pivot queen.
Exactly.
I think what's happening right now from an outsider's perspective, the podcast is your thing.
Yeah.
And it was my thing. When I first started, how I became the technician dude was starting a podcast.
Wow.
So literally my mate was walking along the beach with me during COVID, and we were lost. We were depressed. My partner got locked out of the country at the time. I was with a partner who's Canadian. She's probably still Canadian, but she was locked out, and I didn't know if I was ever going to see her again. Right. So at the time, I was depressed, lost my job. I was on Centrelink. I was like, "What the fuck am I doing? Why am I even doing any of this?" And he just said to me, he said, "Bro, I love the way you try to rewire my mind. You're like a technician." And it just hit me like a lightning bolt. I'm like, that's it. I got the logo made literally that same week. I took out all my super at the time because you could. So I'm like, I'm going all in on this. I took like 20K out, broke as fuck as usual. But I bought all my MacBook, all the gear, everything. And I just went all in. I had no idea if it was going to work out. I was living by myself in a townhouse I just got for us. She couldn't come there. But I got some random dude to live with me. Shout out to Bo, he was the man. And I just didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Here I am 6 years later,
Yeah.
have a top podcast in Australia, one of the top coaches in Australia, doing, last month I think I did 40K or something ridiculous, where 5 years ago I think I barely made $20,000 in the year to get by, to study and all these things. So it's like, you don't know how quick this is going to change for you. And I think for you, because you're an athlete, and I think because you went all in on basketball and it got taken away from you, potentially you're worried deep down, there's a part of you that's scared that if you go all in on this podcast thing, what if it gets taken away from you as well? You can't get injured, you can't do your ACL, but what if it gets ripped away from you and it's something else that you thought was you and it was your identity, and you're like, I can't handle that pain again of having that taken away.
Yep. Yep. Fully. Because I think to everything that I'm doing, right? So it's like, as an athlete as well, you do want to perform and like get people an outcome, right? Like, so it's like, okay, so you've got all these people now, they love YouTube, they love your socials, and then I'm also self-managed on UGC. So I do all of my outreach, I manage myself, I then
That's a lot.
create the content, so I'm like, that's all happening. And then I work 20 hours a week for someone. And then I've got the podcast and you're creating shorts for that. And then you've got people saying, where's your YouTube this week? And then you're like, wait a minute, I want to do an ebook for my recipes. And I think that's the thing, like you say, you don't want to have something else taken away from you. So then in that, I have so many things. And because I'm passionate about all of them, my toxic trait is like, no, we'll get them all done, right? And they're all getting done, I think, at like 20% right now. And, I'm still above water. Like anyone looking from the outside looking in would go, she's getting it done. I'm like, I am not getting it done. Like this is not feeling like I can actually ever catch a break. And then to that point, I'm also going through this full protocol for my nervous system, my hormones, like so much stuff, like very, 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 very in depth, chronically cooked nervous system from a practitioner who's like, we need to get this sorted. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but I have like 14 jobs. So I don't know if I'm going to have time to do my regulation practices in the morning. It's like, so I think it's all of that going, all right, well, what would it look like if you actually just put the brakes on things that you're currently doing for the point of like, you love it, but that's okay. You can still put it down for a moment. You're just afraid to disappoint people. And because then my mind will always just what's the word, like convince myself, no, because if you stop, then like in 5 years time you'll just wish you kept going. And so it's like, we'll just keep going 20% of everything, and then in 5 years time you'll still feel the same.
Yeah, damn. That lands probably for little Christina as well, because for anyone that might not know what I do in regards to protectors and internal patterns, a protector is created in a time of a rupture. That's kind of like you feel like your survival is not going to happen. So, for example, I used to get picked on a lot when I would do public speaking when I was in school. I just was so scared of being judged and being perceived as like stupid and things like that. So if I saw the boys laughing and I'm trying to give a presentation, I'm freaking out. So my protector that was created wanted to protect me from being seen. So anything that would make me be seen, I would get severe anxiety. I would avoid it, sabotage however I can. Unfortunately, that leaked into football. being a Broncos player was being seen to the nth degree. So it sabotaged me in the way of literally creating injuries, creating excuses, not going to the catch-ups down at Brisbane when I had to go to training. To the degree that I got seen in the worst way, it reminded me of school where I went to a presentation one day down at Red Hill, which is the big clubhouse, and all the new boys are there. You know, you got like Alex Glenn, Ben Hunt, all the boys that played for years. And I saw them looking at me. I was up front with a few of the other new lads, and I was, because I'm like, I look at myself, and I'm getting my diagnosis Monday, thankfully, about ADHD and all these other things. And I look back and I was so neurodivergent. I didn't understand social cues, including how to fucking dress. And I just thought I looked like the biggest dork. I was wearing like this skinny little tie and this shit like stripy button up. And I just hated myself, right? This little country kid that was going into this place that had no idea of the concepts. And I was already judging myself hard. So when I went in there and I was standing up front and I saw the other boys look at me and giggle, I made it mean so much about myself that I felt like that was pure annihilation. That was me. I don't fit into the tribe. I'm going to die if I stay here. Let's get the hell out of here. So what do you think I did? We got a contract sent to us in the mail. I think it was a few weeks after that. Dad comes in like, mate, you did it. We did it. We've done it. You know, all these years, all these hundreds of thousands of dollars we've spent getting you to all the rep carnivals and all these things. You did it. And I'm just losing my mind crying. I can't do it, Dad. I'm so sorry. And in that moment, I know my protector was trying to protect me from this thing that he thought was going to hurt me, but it just ruined my entire life at the time. So I look back and I don't have any regret around it. Obviously, I've become the man because of it. But think about that, dude, and how many athletes or people that literally ruin their own lives because of this thing that kept them safe once when they were a kid is still now active now. Even to the degree of money. It's like if money was evil during their childhood, your protector will go, well, when money was wasn't, or when dad made heaps of money, he wasn't around. So you can't make heaps of money because then you won't be present for your partner. Like there's so many different situations that it plays out, right? So you're thinking about your situation and then my situation and how that plays out for people. And think about how now then, how could you overcome that potential internal protector? Like what would you need to do to become who you know you want to be?
Mm. It's just like, I'm just like, where do you even start with that?
Literally, yeah. I look at what you're doing and you're doing everything right. It'll just fall into place. But there is a slight holding on for dear life in some degree where recently I've gone through what you're going through where my whole life was chaos, built off chaos, being probably the dysregulation, knowing that's familiar, but also the ADHD aspect. And since January, I've had to let go of all that and run a business that's now calm, successful, structured. Shout out Tay. She gave me a lot of systems last year when I was working with her. She even asked me the simple question of like, Trav, why do you do calls on every day? Just do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Well, it's often not that deep, is it? You're just like, oh, okay, my whole life is solved.
Yes.
So like Christina, get into your calendar.
Oh, people can work around me? What do you mean?
Yeah, like I'm self-employed.
Shit.
Know, it's like but that's like talk is therapy, right? Because again, even just that point, right? For anyone listening, even for myself, you go, well, rather than running on fumes for the next week and just hope that you'll get it all done, because you always do, right? And that's the thing too, especially with high achievers, you always get it done. It's just that you've decided that done is scum of the earth. So it's got to be 45. Like, it's like, everything's going to be 1,000 times better,
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you can relate to this, but even for myself, say if I've got a UGC project, a video that could take me maybe 10 minutes to film, 20 minutes to edit, I've gotten better at it, but like it could at the start take me 6 hours because you're like, well, this needs to be hard because who am I to for success to come easily? And I think for myself, I was someone who, I hate to be the guy to say it, but I think any athlete can say it. It's like you kind of grew up pretty good at most things, and like you didn't think that you were like superior because of it, but you're just like, well, I don't know, it's just not hard for me to run and win the race, so it's just not hard for me to do that thing or get pretty good grades or feel pretty good or whatever. And then you grow up and you come into this world where people hate on you for that, so then you make everything hard. And I think that's kind of where I fit, which I'm aware of, but it's so, you can so easily just get blindsided again by your own thoughts.
Dude, that is what I had to face in 4 days before New Year's this year. I was sitting in the car, about to meet with a friend and his partner, and every part of me was anxious and going, I don't want to go in there. I don't want to be seen by people right now. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. Something big's about to pop up. So I sat with it, just breathing into it. Like, oh my God, I need to go away somewhere for 4 days and be by myself.
Mhm.
That's what came through. Told my partner, it's like, baby, I know it sounds weird. I know it's New Year's Eve coming up soon, but I've just been told I need to go away. And I just drove to fucking Toowoomba, booked an Airbnb, and I was in a unit by myself. And what came through was exactly what you just said. On the first morning of the first day, I wake up, I'm watching like a Jurassic Park documentary on YouTube, eating breakfast. And this certain song came up that took me back to my childhood. And I remembered how much I was hated just for existing because I was a freak at everything, naturally gifted. I was taller and bigger than everyone. I was a decent looking kid, even though I looked super Asian. I was half decent looking. And I was just hated by men around me, like the brothers, the boys, and the men, and everyone. Oh, of course Trav won the race. Oh, of course Trav was age champion. I'm like, fuck, I'm just doing what I can do, guys. And then I actually started losing shit because I felt I didn't like being disliked.
Yeah.
Even my mates, if we were playing Need for Speed or something, I would just be shit, even though I'd smoke them. I'll just pull back and be like, "Oh, good race, brother."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know. So then that crept through to literally to the start of this year. And now I'm just like, fuck that. I'm never going to dim my light ever again. I'm still going to love everyone and be humble in the kindest way, but I'm still going to celebrate the fuck out of myself. And that's taking my business to another level. And I'm sure for yourself, there's probably parts of that where it's like, what if Talk Therapy became one of the best podcasts in Australia? How would that make you feel?
Yeah, amazing because it's so easeful, and I've even noticed myself as the episodes go on. I've done six, guys, so
It's fucking killing it though. You're doing well.
But I'm like, oh, yeah, but what if I run out of things to say? And it's like you just literally won't, Christina, but that will be the reason why you do, because you're
Ooh.
into your head again. And I would say over the last couple of weeks, I have had just like a deeper level of not just awareness, because like awareness without action is just completely irrelevant. And I can be very self-aware and not do anything about it. And that's perfect and why I'm stuck in this same spot for 10 years. But then it's like, well, actually just acting on that and as like the tiniest little things, just honoring what's right for you and doing it and not fully thinking about how it's going to affect every single other person. And again, not from this lens of you want to go out and hurt people or, not think about people or not consider people, but it's that they're not thinking about you. And in this instance, in how you're thinking, they'll think about you. So you just got to do it. You just got to post it, or you just got to record it, or you just got to say it, or you just got to remind someone of the boundary that you set or whatever the thing is. That will then just feel such a level of conviction in self, and then conviction in self drives everything. Because I think to any time that I have felt so crippled and just so afraid to be seen, like, and I would say same, very similar story to yourself in different ways, but it's like, well, those moments are amplified because then I abandon myself. And then when you've abandoned yourself, you naturally feel crap because you're like, oh, well, I didn't take care of myself this day and I didn't train and I didn't eat well and I didn't do whatever. And then you're like, let me just validate all of these things that I've decided were true that never were, but now they are because I've showed up this way. And it's just
Mm.
cycle over and over again. So I think, yeah, that ability to just stand your ground, no matter how hard, for yourself, not for anyone, not for how you want to be perceived, not for the outcome, but just for you. Like that's the work, really. And it's not the work upstairs, it's the work in real life.
That's a beautiful way. I think as much as I want to talk to you for literally 4 hours straight, we've now done about an hour. So I want to come touch on one more topic here, just to sort of close it out. All of your friends around you right now are pregnant, and I know for a lot of women, they judge themselves like, oh, this is happening, such and such is doing this, and this is going on. What would you say to any woman right now comparing themselves to what their friends around them are doing? Like, how do you navigate that sort of stuff? And because obviously you've had a huge battle with endo and things like that, do you question yourself in those moments?
Yeah, good question. I'll start by talking about kind of my experience because hopefully that
Mm.
can support someone, and then maybe go into like what I would say to anyone in a similar position. But for myself, I kind of grew up just in like at a core level knowing like I'm meant to be a mum. My mum is the goat. Like I wish my mum could be everyone's mum kind of thing. Like I'm like, all right, let's go, Anastasia. I want to be you in my life and I will be you in my life. But
Shout out Anastasia.
shout out, let's get her on the pod. And anyway, so she has just always been like the pinnacle of motherhood for me. And I've always known that's who I would be. And I never ever questioned it. And I think 30 is such a conversation for it because there is just again like so much fear around that age, which there's when you look into it, there's no need for the fear, but it's just we've just been told, whatever story. And so I never thought about it twice because I was like, yep, my timeline's my timeline. When we're ready, we'll be ready. But right now, we're not. There's so much that we want to experience, do, see the world, achieve before we enter that chapter. And we want to enter that chapter, Cruz and I, solid in the fact of knowing that it's going to change so much and there's going to be so many variables that we can't control, expect, or be prepared for, but we're ready for that. Whereas right now, I'm like, we're not ready for that. I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for the sacrifice that comes with motherhood. And I think that's something that, we have to be able to just be real with ourselves about. But I would say it's not even necessarily the girls being pregnant, but it's me getting older and still feeling not ready. I think that
Mm,
has been a fear for me because I go, well, what if you get to another 3 years and you're still not ready? And then you get to another 5 years and like you'll never feel ready, right? People say that, but I think I fully get that now. Like I get what they mean by that now, because there is a point where you will just have to make that decision from like a biological standpoint and like your fertility and all the things. And so for me, I go, okay, well, right now I'm not ready. And I'm choosing to, even in terms of consuming, like what I consume content wise and what I believe, like I just fully believe that, I'm good and I'll be fine. And I have had fears even over the last like 6 months of, but what if you're not fine? And then what if your endo is this? And then what if this is this? And what if you are infertile? And then what if you do start trying, but then it takes you 5 years? Like that, I think is just a very normal thing for a woman to think, especially again in what we've been told. But I'm just so big on the fact that our body does follow our mind's lead. And I can have a very you know, polarizing opinion in that to a lot of people. But like, I just fully trust, even with my journey with endo, that my body actually has the ability to heal and to support itself more than any surgery, more than any prescription, more than anything. It all serves a purpose, but I'm just like, okay, well, I need to focus on my mind. I need to take the outward focus back onto myself and just affirm that I'm good. My timeline is my timeline. The people around you is always a beautiful mirror for what's possible for you. It's what's the law of like what's the law when like everyone else around you has the thing?
oh, is it the law of the average? Like that?
Something like
Whatever.
that.
Yeah.
Like it's like basically they're showing you that you've got that too, but when you're meant to have it. So yeah, I think just to anyone who's experiencing in that, it's like not making yourself wrong for having those thoughts because, God forbid you want to protect yourself and you want to, if you're anyone like me, it's like you've got to work hard to not always assume the worst case so that you can prepare for the worst case because anytime you're not preparing for the worst case happens. But like just love your body, love yourself, do what you know you can do to support that. Lean on people for support if you need it. If it does feel good for you to get, your levels checked or, do some research on like what it would look like to support your body prenatal or before even trying to conceive. Like direct your focus elsewhere because when there's space, you'll fill it up. And if you're not intentional with what you're filling that space up within your mind, then it will just be the norm and the average. And for a lot of people, that is fear. So yeah, I just think choosing love over fear in any moment that you can and just trusting that your body is, ready for that, but also above all else, trusting your timeline. Like I just know that my path is laid out for me till the day that I die. And so as soon as I forget that, I can get fearful. But then as soon as you remember that, you're like, well, what's meant to be will be regardless. So who am I to try and interfere with that? Because I'll never be able to anyway. It would just cause more suffering on me.
Mm, thank you, dude. Like, I love the realness you bring to this space because again, it's what we need. And I'll share a story for the listener and for you because I think this will probably help you deep down. I had a woman come to me last year, and she was struggling going through IVF and had been for a long time with her partner. And I remember our first session, I always work bottom up to try to get the somatics right before we work too much on the mind and vice versa. But she couldn't barely even keep her eyes closed long enough that she would freak out that someone might be watching her, something might happen. That's when I knew how much like she was dysregulated in fight or flight. We worked together for 6 months. It was incredible. Different woman. I checked in on her a few months later. And she tells me, Trav, just letting you know, I'm pregnant. And it happened naturally.
Oh, I get chills.
So that tells me what you just said. Not like context is important, obviously, for every situation, but for this woman and for maybe anyone listening, mind you, she's over 40.
Mm.
And it happened when her body went into a state that it could hold life. It happened when she literally did the internal work, not went through all this thousands and thousands of scientific fucking shit that has worked. It's worked for my auntie.
Yeah.
But there's, like you said, there's alternatives and everyone's different. And why not? Why not work on getting yourself, like you said, getting yourself regulated through your nervous system and see what happens? Like your life changes pretty quickly when you get to that point. Even for me, like I'm one of the steadiest men you'll ever meet. And that's why my clients change so quickly, because people change when they're outside of their window of tolerance.
Mm.
And because they feel so safe with me, they're able to sit outside of their window of tolerance for a longer time than they would with other people. So they're doing shit that normally would terrify them. And that's what's changed in their life.
Mm.
So it's like, yeah, what Christina just said, there's also a state of like, readiness is a choice more so than a nervous system state too. So I know for yourself, and you know this, it's like one day you and Cruz are just going to go, it's time.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
do this
I
thing.
know that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So even for the potty and stuff too, like you're absolutely killing it. I love watching your content. It's something that, in a space where, yeah, everything just feels so fucking fake still. And also I don't want to, shame anyone that's doing their best, because I know some people are just, that scripts and stuff is all they feel comfortable to do. You know, like I'm at a point where I can spit from the top of the dome. Sometimes I might use a more structured way because AI helps with content. Of course, I'm not going to lie about that shit. Like that's real. But I might just need like 10 bullet points and then I'll just let my brain flow because that's how we do it. You know, we're responders. But also, like if there's people that are not backing themselves because they're worried how they're going to be perceived, think about this, how this episode went today. We said one topic at the start, and it's just like I had all these questions here, like, oh, we can touch on this, but it went naturally where it was supposed to, and it's all perfect.
Yeah.
So I know your life and anyone listening, it can play out as soon as you surrender and you just start, like you said, choosing love over fear and just seeing where it goes.
Yeah. No, it's so real. And also, thanks for being with me in this conversation, to you and also the listeners, because any podcast I've ever been on, no one's ever been able to ask the questions because the conversation just goes in so many ways. And I'm like, I'm sorry if you put time into those notes because we have just been yapping. And like, I could have spoke for another 4 hours with you, you know?
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
we just had
it's
a conversation. Like, hopefully people benefited from it.
absolutely. And look, I'm sure at some point, like with guests like yourself, knowing that we can touch on so many points in such a poignant way, and there's so much value in this. This was insane. So I appreciate you and your time. So I'm sure there'll be a part two at some point. Maybe we can do it in person so then we can feel the energy and all the things, you know. I'm down the Goldie quite a bit, so maybe we can do one of those coffee ones at some point. So there is something that I wanted to make sure I got from you today, was that you said in your podcast you love, I'm the same, I would say, because my attention span's shithouse, but if I'm listening to a podcast, one thing will hit me, and this is how neurodivergence we activate through the way of like something really profoundly activates in our body. That's how our body remembers that thing, that lesson, and then we teach it to others. So our neural pathways rewire because we're teaching to others. So for you, what's that one takeaway from today's podcast that you want to share with the listener and that you're going to go share on your socials or whatever?
Mm.
And take your time.
Yeah. I'm trying to get better at thinking before I speak, you know? Like what do I actually think? I would say to try and put it into a nutshell, it's just understanding that life has infinite possibilities, but it is not infinite. Like your lifetime is not infinite, right? And I also believe I've been here, I've got reps left in me. We'll be back in different ways, probably chatting as different people. But in this life, it's got an expiry date. And I think there's a quote that says, you can't add days to your life, but you can add life to your days.
Mm.
And having an anchoring point for the listeners, whatever that might be from what we spoke about, or a different, podcast or a quote, if they could take one sentence that really just encapsulates that understanding that you will die with love, like we're going to die, something that just reminds them that in the moments of fear, in the moments of doubt, or in the moments of questioning everything or reverting back into comfort, familiarity, leaning out of the opportunity, what can they remind themselves with in understanding that well, we're going to die. No one's going to remember it anyway. And, when people, we didn't even talk about this, but kind of like in what's the timeline of when people are going to fully forget your entire existence? Like it's not that far away. Like unless you're someone like your Marilyn Monroe or your fucking big dog like your Jordan or whoever you are, like you'll be forgotten in the space of maybe 100 years, probably less. So no one's remembering the times that you failed. No one's remembering the time that you stuttered on your stories or you posted that thing and it just like fully flopped, or you approached that guy in the bar and they just said, I'm married. Like no one remembers anything. It's not that deep. So live knowing that, live for the people that you've lost, knowing that they're with you as well. And let's just get it done. Like, let's just fuck around, find out, fuck it up, make mistakes, and just keep it moving.
Beautiful, dude. What are you going to fuck around and find out today? What's in the rest of your day?
Well, I'm recording a podcast this afternoon. Get that sorted. Might try and do another second podcast because I'm away next week. So try and bank a few up and just give a bit of a life update, but a bit of a raw update, I think, because I really want to be as real as possible on every platform. And like podcast is just the easiest way for me to do that. So I feel like that's what my day is going to look like. And then I'm just gonna go work at a friend's house. I think it's pretty chill, pretty namaste, but it's Friday, you know?
Take it easy. I like that. Where can people find you?
Christina Pengilly on all socials. And then my podcast is Talk Therapy. So it's just Talk Therapy Podcast, I believe. Talk Therapy or Talk Therapy Podcast. All in my link tree in my Instagram bio. So if you just look up Christina Pengilly, you'll be able to find all the links and bits and pieces. I'm on YouTube. Who knows if we'll be on YouTube after today's call.
Wait. It's so much, hey. Like you said, I've been doing this podcast for 4.5 years, and I just realized I've put barely any of my episodes on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like I just don't remember a lot of shit. So I just stick to the practical, simple stuff. I get it done. I show up. I create my content. Content creation for me is really easy. So I focus on that to help people and grow my business. So yeah. Oh, dude, incredible conversation. Great way to start a Friday. I hope you have a beautiful rest of the day. And thank you, everyone, listening. Obviously, as usual, we know I'm the technician, but I'd love you guys to be a technician. Help us by sharing this around. Send it to your friends. Save and get the posts out there, whatever reels come out. And let's help change this culture. Let's go.
Thank you for having me. It's so good.
Thanks, dude.